We did it for Stargate and we're gonna do it again this time. It's time to count down the weeks left until Champions of the Asia circuit by taking a look at specifically the Dimension Police reveals over the coming weeks. And there's only about 3 weeks left until the set releases. It's going to be releasing in Japan on the 20th of July. As I'm recording this, it is the 3rd of July. And that poses a bit of a question of how fast they're going to actually reveal things, because right now it's feeling a bit weird how we have 3 cards that we're going to go over in this video, and we still have so much left of the set to see. Like, we've seen some stuff in the anime like Dragon, Cosmo Beak, Laurel, Great Dayusha and stuff like that, but I'm going to be talking about specifically the cards that we've seen the actual effects of. Great Dayusha looks amazing with his, battle phase ride skill, but we're going to look at that properly once it actually gets revealed on either Card of the Day or the next live stream. So we're going to begin the video with the first reveal that the clan had, which was everybody's favorite, the original Dimensional Robo, Super Dimensional Robo Dayusha. So this does once again confirm that Dimensional Police is a Force clan, and the interactions between Dimensional Police's mechanic and Force definitely looks to be something a bit more unique than what Kagero as well as Royal Paladin brought to the table, maybe on par with Spike Brothers. But let's go over this guy's skills. First of which is Continuous Vanguard Circle. If this unit's power is 35k or greater, this unit gets an extra critical. This is pretty good because when you do ride it and you put the Force under him, you'll be hitting for 23 already, so you only really need to boost him up by a 12k, so you can put like a 5k from one of your skills and then boost him with even like a 7k power, and there you go, you already hit the threshold, and you can easily, outplay your opponent basically like how Kote did in the anime, which that episode is really good, but I'm going to wait a little bit because I actually want to review that episode because it was so amazing, but I want to give everybody a chance to watch it, so if you haven't already watched episode 9 of the Vanguard reboot anime, make sure you do. But so the skill is nice because it lets you sort of play around it in a way that you kind of mess with your opponent, whether they want to let it pass or not, banking on if you get a trigger and then potentially put up his critical, and so that's definitely quite interesting in the way that it functions. Now his second skill essentially pumps him up to the point that he reaches that power, which is an Act Vanguard Circle once per turn. You rest any number of your rear guards, and then for each unit that was rested for the cost, he gets plus 10k until end of turn. This is really nice because it interacts really well with the units that we're going to go over in the remaining parts of this video, because by resting them you can still use their skills, which are mostly on hit, so it's definitely quite nice just for that reason. I think he's a great grade 3 honestly, because even with Great Dayusha, Great Dayusha is sort of going to be the finisher because he rides in the battle phase, but looking at, for example, a budget perspective, this is going to be great to just be the grade 3 that budget players can play with, and then whatever else Bouchard gives us in the set, we can use as the backup grade 3 or whatever. So I think that honestly, he's a good grade 3. Some people weren't very happy, but I think, having crit pressure from turn 3 onwards eternally is definitely very good, and being able to play around it in a way that your opponent might get baited into thinking that you're not gonna get any triggers or something, or like just let it pass, and then you not only get a trigger to put up his power to 35k, but you also get, like, let's say multiple crits and just finish the game right there. So that sort of mind gamey part of the card I really enjoy, and it was nice that they showcased that in the anime really well, so I'm happy to see that overall. Now looking at the cards that actually interact with him, first we have Dimensional Robo Die Brave, so he makes his Brave return. His first skill is a once per turn, both on Vanguard and Rearguard Circle. You can Soul Blast 1 to give your Vanguard an extra 5k power. Pretty straightforward, it's nice that you just get to convert a soul into a 5k addition, and that way you can sort of pump up Great Dayusha to 28 immediately with this guy, and then just, bank on the trigger, and that way you're able to kind of pressure them into thinking whether they need to guard it or not. And then his second skill is the one that actually interacts with Dayusha, which is when your Vanguard's attack hits a Vanguard, you can put him into your soul to draw a card. Now, what's nice is that you can essentially rest him for Dayusha's skill, and then pump him up by 10, and then if you hit, you can still put him into the soul even if he's rested. So you do lose the 8k boost, but you did convert that into a 10k power onto the Vanguard, so in the end it's kind of a fair trade. And he's a double rare, but honestly he's a really good card in my opinion, because he helps you get cards in hand. This thing is also live from turn 1, so it's kind of like Gary Gannon and Spike Brothers, where you can drop him on turn 1 and just swing at Vanguard. Chances are you're going to be swinging for 16 against their 8, and then that way they're going to be they either have to drop a 15k shield or at least a 10k shield to want to pass it or something, and that way you're either forcing them to neg cards in their hand, or you're plussing yourself. So that way it's a win-win situation where you're either forcing your opponent to overcommit in early game where like they don't necessarily need to, where you know they're going to need more defenses in the late game because you're going to be hitting them with a lot of big attacks, or they just let it pass and you get yourself an extra card in hand and an extra soul, which we can see is definitely relevant because you need the soul blast for a lot of these cards. So I think it's a really well-rounded card. It really helps to again push the sort of pressure point that Dimensional Police has, and to me Dimensional Police has always been a clan about managing pressure. It's always fiddling with your opponent in a way, or messing with your opponent's board and game state at all points, because that way you're able to deny them plays that they want to make, or you force them into scenarios that are not what they want to be doing. Like, that's what Daikaiser was known for. Daikaiser forced your opponent to always overcommit, and that way they would always kind of lose momentum in that way. Or with Daimax, you know, you always try to sort of pressure them to this point where it would always kind of punish them, or they would have to overcommit. So I think both these cards, both Dayusha and Daibrave, help to push that point where you're either forcing them to overcommit from very early on, or you're just messing with their momentum, or they have to just let you do your things, and then inevitably you just make advantage out of that. So I think Daibrave is a really good card, and I'm glad that we're getting such good support. And finally, we have a common in Dimensional Robo Dai Tiger. So he used to be a 10k attacker, now he has a different skill. On rearguard circle, when your Vanguard's attack hits a Vanguard, you can put him into your soul and choose one of your opponent's rearguards and retire it. Finally, we can choose the rearguard that we retire, because until now, any time really the Dimension Police got some kind of skill that we could retire, it would be the opponent that chooses. So it's actually really nice that we can choose it for once. Some people were disappointed in him. I think he's still quite good. We'll see if he's going to be played that much, because we're going to have Laurel, and I think Daibrave is definitely a 4 of, and then we'll see, maybe Tiger will take another 4 of slot, maybe it'll be a 2 of, we'll see what the actual deck build is going to look like, honestly. But I think right now it's not that bad, because again, you can rest him for Dayusha's skill, and then, you know, you can pressure them into a retire. I don't think this will be that relevant in the early game though, like how Daibrave you can drop on turn 1 and already have pressure, because usually your opponent won't have really called anything that early, and that way it's not really all that relevant. So I think in the late game it gets a bit more relevant, but in the late game you're also less likely to hit. So I think he might be a 2 of or something, but unless we don't get anything better, which I kind of doubt, I think he might stay as, you know, he might go up to a 4 if we don't get anything better, but for now I think it's like a 2 or 3, but we'll see. I think it depends on how the game is going to progress. This could also be a card that gets better over time. Maybe, you know, they'll bring back foreigners or something like that. So I think honestly this card is definitely not bad, but you know, it's just not the same, not the same quality as Daibrave is. So those are the 3 cards that we have revealed for Dimensional Police so far. I'm looking forward to any other reveals. If there's more this week, then you're gonna have to wait until the start of next week, because, you know, I don't really want to push out, you know, these kind of videos too often. I want it to be a weekly thing so that we can kind of recap everything that's been revealed for Dimension Police from the perspective of a die-hard Dimension Police fan. So I hope that this brings something new to the table for those of you that are either playing Dimension Police or thinking of maybe building it in Standard. And so I'm going to try to also bring in perspectives towards Premium, but I think so far these cards aren't super relevant in Premium, because like once we see more grade 2s, that's when it gets relevant, because in Premium we can tutor those. So I think it's going to get more interesting once we see more of that. But on that note, that's going to be it for me today. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Do let me know what you think of this new support so far, and you know, we can always talk about Aquaforce and Grand Blue in the comments, but I think you already know another YouTuber that's a lot more relevant for Aquaforce than I am. But anyway, don't forget to click the bell button, as well as check out the social medias in the description, and join the Discord channel if you haven't already. But on that note, that's going to be it for me today. I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.